What up, everybody? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Chef Chad Sherry, and I'm here with you today, and we are going to do a healthier, right? Healthy is one of those kind of moving target words. So a healthier holiday meal. Now, I'm excited about this because this is the best time of year for me and the family, man. We love holiday foods. We got a couple of things that we cook every year without fail, and I'm going to show you some of those. I'm going to show you some of our favorite things. What's nice about these is that this is a quick holiday setup that can be done in less than an hour, as you're about to see. Now, you know, people say that all the time. You read a recipe, they say it all the time. But the best thing about this is I'm going to show you. I'm not just going to say it to you. I'm going to go ahead and get it in and show you what I'm talking about, and we're going to have fun with this. So with that said, drum roll, please. I mean, invisible drum roll. I don't have a studio audience yet. All right. Let's talk about what we are making. So we are going to make some mashed potatoes, but not just any mashed potatoes. They're going to be cauliflower mashed potatoes, okay? And we'll go ahead and we'll zoom in over here. We'll see it. Not zoom in, but we'll see it. So cauliflower mashed potatoes, I promise you, you're going to love it. New twist on an old classic. We're going to make veggies because you got to have some greens with it, right? So broccoli, some butternut squash, which we have two versions of it, okay? That is a great pairing of the veggies, and we're gonna finish with a honey ham. Now, it's wrapped up because I've already been working on this ham. I already done dug into it a little bit, but we're gonna finish with that honey ham, and it's gonna be fire, okay? So with that being said, we're gonna switch back over, and we are going to start with what takes the longest. So culinary planning is super crucial. Okay, when you get ready to cook, you should already kind of know what you're gonna make. I mean, freestyle is cool, but for meals like holiday meals, we should kind of have an idea what we're gonna make, and we should do what's called mise en place, which means everything in its place. So as you see, I have all of my food stuff, I've got all of my utensils, and I even have my pots and pans and seasonings behind me, right? So I'm ready to go. So now the only thing is to start on what takes the longest. And in this class, I guarantee you can guess that what's going to take the longest is going to be mashed potatoes, okay? That's our long time. So if we're gonna do that, we gotta prep it, we gotta get it going. We've got some gold potatoes right here. Let's pull those out. Let's get these bad boys over here onto this cutting board so that we can work with them, all right? Now, gold potatoes are one of my just all-purpose potatoes. All right, and as we cut, I'm going to talk to you a little bit more. So what you want to do is we're going to cut these down so that they cook faster, all right, and they go in this bowl. So I'm going to start by cutting everything in half, and you notice I do a technique when I'm cooking. It's called batching. It means that you do a specific motion over and over again, right? You don't deviate. You do one motion. So right now I'm cutting the potatoes in half. That's all I'm going to do until every single potato is cut in half. I'm going to batch. All right, makes your life easier, makes you work faster in the kitchen. All right, remember that term, batching. It will be on your final exam. Okay, got it. So, cut these in half, get them ready. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cut them in half again, rotate, and if it's a big potato, I'll do 4, right? 4 cuts, like so. Okay, making it smaller allows it to cook faster. If it's a little potato, I'll do probably 2 cuts. All right, so the whole thing is about cook time here. We just want to make this faster. Now, back to what I started to say. Gold potatoes get amazing all-purpose potato, right? The skin on these does not have to be peeled before you cook it. So what that means for you is less time in the kitchen. Now, is this the exact perfect potato for mashed potatoes? Not necessarily, right? It's got a little bit of a lower starch content than Idaho potatoes, which we call baking potatoes. And so those potatoes technically will be better for mashed potatoes. However, because I don't have to peel, I'm a fan of these and red potatoes, which you also don't have to peel. Plus, I heard the skin has some really good health benefits. So, you know, hey, look, why not, right? Why throw away something that can potentially be good for us? So after you cut them off, we're going to go ahead and wash them. So take a little bit of water just, and at home you do this over the sink because you can just put them into a colander and just rinse them in the sink. Here, we've got to go ahead and do this slightly differently, just because we don't have that sink action in the studio kitchen. Now, what these potatoes are excellent for, okay, are for like roasted potatoes or potato salads. That's what they're really, really, really starting to be good for. Now, after we wash them a little bit off, or doing it by hand, go ahead, we'll start adding them to our pot. Okay. Keep in mind, you don't really want to add too much of this liquid because, hey, we just washed the potatoes in it. So we don't want to add that right back into what we were doing. And I'm going to show the camera. I don't know if you can see it, but there's always little like dirt particles on the potatoes. And, it's not too crazy. We are going to boil it, but you still, just wash it. I don't know if y'all can see that, but to me here it's really cloudy, and that's something we're just going to go ahead and just put off to the side because you don't need it right now. Not anymore. All right. So potatoes are in. They need water because this has to come to a boil. So add in some water. Don't quite cover the potatoes. The reason for that is personally, I want to avoid, as this water starts to boil, it bubbling out and bubbling up and bubbling over, because I hate how that like burnt smell. Not a fan. So we've added water, we've added potatoes. We're going to add one more thing, and that's a little bit of seasoning. All right. I'm choosing roasted garlic. This is mainly garlic, dehydrated vegetables. It's not a lot of salt. It's actually only 4% salt, so I want that. Okay. We're going to sprinkle that right on top. And what you'll notice is dehydrated vegetables, when you put them in, they're flat. They're not as, they don't look as vibrant. By the time this finishes cooking, you're going to see these dehydrated vegetables, this garlic rehydrate, and all of that flavor is going to infuse into the potatoes. And that's what you really want, right? What I'm not going to do is add salt right here. I know typically they say add, salt or water. Here's the thing. Whatever I put into this water, those potatoes absorb. And for a healthier meal, I want to have a little bit less of the salt. Now, I'm going to re-salt these when they come out. I'm going to add salt there because you need flavor in your mashed potatoes. So it's not necessary for me to add it here. Instead, I just let these herbs do their whole thing, right? They're going to get their own thing. And you can see it right in there. It's pretty. I turned it on high. We're going to cover that. We're going to let that go. And we're going to move on to our next thing. But before I do, I was telling you that the boiled potatoes are great for potato salads and breakfast hash. Check this out. If you're doing a breakfast hash with boiled potatoes, go ahead and take one sweet potato, cut it up, and use it in there. I promise you, change your whole life. Just that little bit of sweet. And sweets are really good for you. So this is normally the point where I say, hey, do we have any questions? So if we do, go ahead and just, let me know. If not, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to go slowly. I'm going to open this cauliflower right here. And we're going to have some fun with this bad boy. All right. You notice we're using a lot of fresh veggies. We're not using a lot of the frozen stuff. And frozen stuff, no harm, no foul, right? Nothing wrong against frozen stuff. Sometimes it's really good for you. But if fresh veggies are available, if they're seasonal, that's really what you want to get into. And we're going to talk about like seasonal veggies and their properties and why we like them so much as we get to our veggie portion of this. And I know I'm cutting the vegetable, and you're like, wait, we not have the veggie portion? No, sir. This magical vegetable, all right, this is for our mashed potatoes. As I said, cauliflower mashed potatoes. All right, we are going to start by destemming. So we're going to insert the tip of the knife right in here like so. And we're going to work in a circle. Now, this is not super easy, so make sure you have a firm grip on it and your cutting board is under you, and just work down. This is tough. Take your time. Last thing you want to do is cut off your finger or injure yourself trying to get some cauliflower. Okay? Take your time. You do not have to rush it. You don't have to force it. Just be easy. Remember, whenever you're dealing with a knife work is never about strength. Knife work is about technique, okay? There's a finesse to it, right? As a young boy say, you got to finesse that thing, okay? And that's what we want to do. And we want to remove all of the stem, which is really, really easy to accomplish because the stems are green. So get all that out of there, make it happen. All right. At this point, we're going to discard these because I'm not using them, but that doesn't mean you at home don't use them. You can take this and you put this in your compost pile for later on, or you can put this into a pot along with any potato skins or leftover veggie stalks and start to make a vegetable stock. It's amazing. It's a great way to start some sauces, a great way to start a soup, have you ready for later on. All right. As we continue to prep our cauliflower, I'm gonna go ahead and just break a couple of those off. See, I didn't even have to use my knife too much. Just broke it off. Now I'm just gonna make them smaller. And why do y'all think we would make them smaller? Right. It's the same reason we did with our potatoes. We want to make this cook faster. All right. In the kitchen, we got to save time wherever we can. Nobody got time to be working this all day and night. Nah, man. I told you, we're gonna do this meal in under an hour, 50 minutes, right? So we put them into another. These are sauce pots because I'm only making enough for a family of 4, right? Small servings, right? Here we go. We don't need to have too many leftovers on this. And I'm gonna add some more water to this pot here. And we are going to also repeat the process. We're going to add in some of the roasted garlic, which is very low sodium, okay? And to this dish, I will add a little bit of salt here to the cauliflower. Here's why. Cauliflower is mostly water, and as such, it does not have a large flavor profile of its own. And if I'm going to boil in the water, this is going to taste just like water. Nobody wants that. So we'll take a good pinch, okay, of my own adobo that we make, and we're going to drop it in. You can use seasonings that you have at home. If you don't have what I have, that's okay. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Use what you have there. Just be moderate. Be mindful about being moderate, meaning don't go ham. Nobody wants salty anything. You can always add salt, you can always add flavor, but you can't take it out. So just be mindful about being moderate when you do it. And last note about this, because this is the longest thing, this is the longest time what we have. We gotta boil the potatoes, boil out the cauliflower, we gotta mix them and match them. The longest thing. Cauliflower itself, though, is quite remarkable. I called it magical, and I'm gonna touch on this later on about why this is also so magical, but I will tell you this. This vegetable has a ton of vitamin C in it, but it also has anti-inflammatory properties. So as we get older, I wake up sometimes, my back be like, don't do it, chef. Stuff like that, right? My knees, inflammation is a big cause of those things. So we want to eat stuff as we get older and just to be healthier with anti-inflammatory properties. Plus it has antioxidant properties, and it is known to help lower, okay? Not solve, but help lower your risk of heart disease and cancer. So something I would arguably say that most people want to include in their diet more, right? Right. All right. More cauliflower later on as we go. Now to our second longest item, the ham. Now the ham is all wrapped up and trussed up pretty right here. Because see, I already done dug into this ham. Me and the family have been working through this okay? And I love that because, I got a family of 4 and I have to be concerned about saving, funds, cash, right? Money. I can't just go and buy all kinds of crazy things. Even as a chef, even with all my knowledge, I'm still concerned about being cost aware. So with an item like a ham, you notice I got this bone-in ham. You can see, ooh, she pretty, right? But with an item like ham, what's nice is that I can use this more than once. Now, traditionally in my household, when we cook ham for holidays, we put the whole ham in. We might even make 2 hams. But that's because we used to cook them so big because we had all the family over. This year, slightly different. This year we have COVID, and so we're not going to make as much food because we hopefully are going to have slightly smaller gatherings just because we're trying to be conscious. So what that means is it gives you an opportunity to buy a ham and use it multiple times. You don't need as much. I'm going to show you how much we use here. And like I said, I'm cooking for a family of 4. If you got slightly bigger, you can use more, but we're going to do that here, right? I'm going to slice it. I'm going to put it into the pan, and then we got to talk about this glaze. You know, that classic brown sugar glaze, okay? So watch me, just watch your hands. These hams are typically already pre-sliced. However, we've already worked through the slice portion. So I'm going to use my skills here just to slice them off, okay? And you guys, just remember, knife skills, just cut it nice, cut some nice slices. Don't really worry about it, get into it. You know, oh gosh, I was so tempted to do what my daughter does. She has this thing, whenever she says get into it, and I'm not going to do it because my wife is going to look at me crazy, but yo, y'all can't see her. She's on camera doing it. That's so great. Okay. So cut your ham down. Cut on one side of the ham, right? Always give yourself the most cutting surface. So remember, the ham has 2 sides. Cut on one side first, and I'll show you why. Use the bone. Use everything. Don't put your fingers out there. It looks like my finger's out there, but my finger is bent. So if I get down here, I can hold it, but I won't ever cut the tip of my finger. It'll only ever hit knuckle. Right, so cut down 1/2 first, leave the other half, don't worry about it. It's a little more difficult because this isn't the slice portion, but that's okay. We just pull that off. We're gonna get right to it, right? We're gonna get a couple of good slices out of here, all right? Cut down half, cut it down, cut it down. There we go, that one came out nice. See, these other ones just be messing with me sometimes. Get a couple of really good slices, right? You figure everyone's gonna have at least one good slice with the meal, maybe 2. But we're going to want a couple of these slices for tomorrow for breakfast. I'm a ham person in the morning. My family, my mom's side, is from North Carolina. And you know, we ate ham. That was one of those things that was so traditional. And that's one of the things I love about the holiday time, because this is not something I'm going to eat. And I'm rotating this. I'm going to cut the other side. This is not something I'm going to eat often. This is not something I'm going to feed my family often. But on the holidays, we're going to get in there. We're going to get it. This is slightly more challenging when you get down to the bottom. I'm not going to lie to y'all, but it's still good. So we'll just cut a few more slices, and we'll wrap this back up, because the last piece of this ham, what's a little bit left over here, is going to go into seasoning some of my greens. Now, if you're looking to do healthier greens, I want you to start working with turkey bacon and turkey products and not using ham. This is traditional for us. We're going to do it today, but I want you guys to start changing how you do some of that stuff, right? Start looking at other options and know that they are just as good. A smoked turkey neck, whoo, boy. All right, and now I'm making myself even hungrier. I have not eaten today. So we're going to spread some of this out. This is good. Like I said, we'll come back to the ham and we'll use it later on. So I'm going to put it off to the side. All right, use it in another dish. Put you right back here so we don't need you. And even though this is a fully cooked ham, because I bought fully cooked spiral ham, I'm still going to go ahead and we're going to switch out gloves. Now, I practice double glove love. This is my opportunity to show you, talk to you a little bit about cross-contamination. Cross-contamination is the concept that when you are working in your kitchen, you could potentially deal with some raw meat or raw eggs or something, and you touch that, and you touch another surface, and you spread the germs from that product onto your other surfaces. That's no bueno. So I use double glove love, meaning I'm always wearing 2 pairs of gloves, so that if I ever contaminate one side, I can take the top layer off and keep going, and it doesn't slow me down. For you at home, this would mean that you would take a second and wash your hands right here. Okay. Ham, back to the focus, back to the top. I have some brown sugar glaze. Now this packet, which says literally brown sugar glaze packet, comes with my ham. Here's what it says in the ingredients. Brown sugar, spices, maltodextrin, natural flavors, molasses, more sugar, maple syrup, even more sugar, vanilla extract, and lastly, honey. Wait, more sugar. No, okay? We don't use this. I only saved this just so I can show you we're not going to use this, right? we're doing healthier. We're going to be conscious about what we're putting in. So I don't want us to really go wild on sugars. But I don't want to sacrifice flavor either. So I'm going to show you something really, really dope using just a couple of ingredients that are so great with flavor and not sacrificing, and not adding all the extra sugars. So we're going to go over, I'm pulling out my pineapple, pulling out an orange, and I'm pulling out some honey, okay? Tons of different kinds of sugars. My wife, who is our producer extraordinaire right now, but she's also my sous chef, she'll tell you a little bit more about the honey as we start breaking this down, and you'll see why. I'm going to move at this point my potatoes off for a second because we need another skillet to it.
All right, so hi everyone. This is Karen Penny Cherry behind the camera.
Yeah.
So the reason behind honey is that we need to find an alternative to our use of white sugar, right? We want to X white sugar out of our diet completely. In our household, we actually don't buy white sugar. Now, if you want to use cane sugar, that's a little bit better. If you're diabetic, still not what you want to use. But there are naturally occurring, sugar substitutes, right? So cane sugar is less processed. It is naturally occurring. But even better than that is monk fruit sugar. If you want to try monk fruit sugar, there is no aftertaste to the monk fruit sugar.
It actually tastes really good.
It tastes really, really good. But then when you talk about honey, we're using raw honey today. It's lower on the glycemic index, but it also has healing properties. It also acts as a preservative. So honey is just all around better for you to use, which is why people put it in their teas. And I've seen some people put it in their coffee. I don't know that I would, but
yeah, I'm more of a tea with honey kind of guy.
More of a tea with honey kind of guy. So we're going to be using honey today, right? Which is also found in that brown sugar packet.
Yep.
But
it's the last ingredient.
It's the last ingredient, right? Minus the brown sugar and the molasses
and minus the other sugar.
All of the other
sugar. The other sugars.
Exactly, right? So we're just going to use honey, and then we're going to use pineapple chunks.
Now, pineapple chunks, I know you'd be like, why? I don't know about pineapple chunks. Let me tell you, if you ever seen the old school style, my mom used to do it with the ham, and you got the round pineapples and the cherries right there. Oh, it looked pretty, but it was also so good. So we're gonna pour that whole cup into here. We're gonna turn your skillet back to medium high, okay? Turn it up, and let's hit it with some honey. Now, I'm gonna use about 8 ounces of honey. I am not measuring, I tell you the ounces because I kind of got it in my head, all right? And all we're gonna do is we're gonna use this to reduce and combine, meaning we're gonna cook off a lot of the excess liquid, and what's gonna be left is a really nice, almost sauce-like substance. Now, because it's hot, I'll show you, it's never gonna get really, really thick. We don't have any thickeners in here, and we don't really wanna add any, but once you put this over top of your ham, and you bake it a little bit, because that's the next step, is to throw that ham in the oven. All of those flavors are going to marry. They're going to make it real nice, okay? So that's about 8 ounces. I'm going to go ahead and slide my honey off to the side. Let it drip back down, and we are ready to go. All you do, real complicated move, y'all. Real complicated move. You just stir a little bit, okay? Right now, we're just combining the honey just so it doesn't settle. And then we're going to let the heat do the rest, and we'll agitate it a little bit here and there. But for the most part, it's not much work, right? But it does take some patience, and you want to use that heat to do work for you. And trust me, you will be very happy with the results of this. All right. While that's working, we have to do one other preparation for our ham. That's where the orange comes into play. And you're like, I know, one little orange. What is that going to do? Well, we don't have a lot of ham, so 1 orange is actually perfect for this. If you've got a little bit more, use maybe 2 oranges. What this does, the citrus, it really complements the flavor of the ham, right? Citrus and pork, they are good friends. Now, I'm not talking about, using like a lemon. Well, yesterday someone was like, hey, what about grapefruit? If you really, really like grapefruit, but an orange or some mandarins, oh, that right there is perfect. Okay, I know where this is going, so I'm just getting a napkin for myself later on. I'm gonna look back. My cauliflower is boiling nicely. Let me go ahead and do one adjustment. Okay, switch. All right. At home, you have 4 eyes, so you don't have to move nothing around. But in the home studio here, in the studio, we only got 2, so we move stuff around. Let's get back to squeezing. We're going to literally squeeze this. If you don't want to squeeze it, just take a fork and poke it in and it'll get the juice out. I'm cupping my hand so I can catch a lot of the seeds. My family doesn't really care if we have a few seeds in there. It's not going to really kill us. We're okay. But the cup of the hand helps catch a lot of seeds. Okay? And I'm just letting it drip through my fingers. It's liquid. It'll find a way. Massaging as much of that juice out as possible. Okay? And there we go. There we go. We're going to let that work. Keep the same energy. Cup your hand here. Catch. I just lost a seed, but that's okay. Right? And we just taking our time. We're patient. We'll let it drip. Don't worry about it if you get the OJ everywhere. We're going to take a second and we're going to rub this in right after that. Get the rest of this liquid out. There we go. And I'm just being patient. Like I said, I'm trying to catch the seeds, man. You'd be surprised how often the difference between an amazing dish and an average dish is patience. So I always tell people, in the things that it doesn't cost you anything to be patient with, try it, because you're building a muscle. But in the overall grand scheme of things, does it matter if I get a seed or 2 in here? No, right? But me practicing my patience in this one aspect will translate into greater gains across my whole culinary spectrum, right? You practice what you want to get better at. So now I'm just going ahead, like I said, I'm just rubbing everything in. The obvious question here, why didn't I just add the orange onto, into this mixture with honey and pineapple? Simple. Orange is a delicate flavor, especially when used like this, and I didn't want it to be washed away. So this way I can put it directly on the ham, and I feel like it makes a difference. And I know for a lot of people, they're like, but I don't know. I'm going to refer to you, and if you've never seen this, I promise you, now that I'm telling you about it, you will see this all of a sudden. When a recipe calls for a little bit of lemon zest, when that happens, and you're like, well, just a little bit of lemon zest, I don't know. But these little touches, they make all the difference, man. Remember, flavors are subtle. So we want to do that. So I'm going to let that work. I'm going to come back. I'm going to stir this because this is almost ready. And we're going to continue to move forward. We're back. We're going with this here. I'm alternating once again, just keeping mindful of everything. As you cook, you kind of want to have that sixth sense. You want to think about everything that's happening, right? It just keeps you focused. So here now, I have my dish. And can I get you to come a little closer? I want to show something that is like a little nuanced thing. You see these big, large, clear bubbles? That means that that's boiling right. We've cooked off a lot of the impurities. But on the edges of the pan, there are these, and it's hard to see, but it's like a little film. Now, if you ever made soup or you ever boiled out something, you see this little film that starts in the center and then gradually it cooks off. I don't know what that is, but I love to cook that off. I'm looking for these bubbles when I want some bubble. I want to cook off all this film. So now what I'm going to do is stir. I'm going to let this go a little bit. I brought that up because to me, that lets you know when something has boiled to just about the right point. And if you're making soups or you're making stocks, that's something that you will build the intuition for as you go, as you do more cooking. But I wanted to give you, I guess, one of the little things that I look for. I don't really even have the scientificals on it. Yes, I said scientificals, but it is just something. It's a thing, and I'm not the only chef that does this. I've concurred with many others, and I show you that because with a lot of the videos and the demos, when you're working with us here, and me in particular, I'm showing you techniques. While I'm showing you a recipe, it's the techniques that are what's important. And I'm muddling or crushing up the pineapple here to get a little bit more of that into this sauce. That's all I'm doing. But it's the techniques that are important. It's not the recipe itself. The recipe is just a blueprint. Okay, but those are the techniques that when you're making 2 or 3 things, you're like, oh shoot, I remember in the last recipe I did X and X, and now in this recipe you can do that too. And that's what separates you. That's what starts to where you really develop your kitchen intuition. You really start to get these wings, you know. And because overall, I want you to do better. I want you to make more food, cook, prepare more, get the family involved, little hands, right? Bring the kids in, get them working. Like this right here, all I'm doing is just using the flat of the spoon to just crush these up a little bit. That can be done by a little person, okay? And that little person needs to earn their dinner. My little person wakes up every morning and says to me, I'm hungry. So I make sure my little person does some things to help me out all the time because I love to eat and so does he. Now, with this sauce here, we're gonna add this to the ham, but this is a lot of sauce, okay? This is a lot for this little bit of ham. But what I didn't want to have to do was have to make more sauce later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out some of the juice, not all of it, and I'm going to pull out some of the pineapples, not all of it, and we're going to save the rest for later, right? Remember, we always said, I said it, be mindful of moderation, okay? Be mindful of moderation. Just because we made it doesn't mean we have to use it, okay? So I'll put this back on, let it boil out. I have my sauce, which I'm saving for later. Let me put this here so it doesn't burn a hole through my thing. Sauce, which I'm saving for later. Spread my pineapples out, make sure there's juice everywhere. And this is going to go into the oven on 350 for about 15 minutes. And it'll be nice and pretty. I'll hand that off. Wow, thank you. Thank you, thank you. See, she coming in front of the camera, so you can't see what I see, but it's a thank you. Trust me on that. All right. Let's double check in. Let's check in real quick on our potatoes and our cauliflower. I know it looks like I'm babysitting these. I am. All right, let's check in real quick. Potatoes, they're boiling. Let's see if they're done. It could go a little bit longer. Okay, it could go. Cauliflower has been boiling. Let's see if it's done. Yeah, just like the potatoes. It could go a little bit longer. So, by the way, those are hot. It's boiling. I just don't have fingertips. I do not advise you to put your hand into boiling water, not even your fingertip. Don't do it. It's one of those situations where I need you to do what I'm telling you to do, but not what you see me doing. Cool. All right. Let these go a little bit longer. It's time for us to move on to our veggies. Well, even before we do that, because our veggies are simple. Right? These are fall veggies. So these are things that you're going to find in abundance. They're seasonal right now. So something like broccoli, cauliflower, butternut squash. I mean, all kinds of squashes, acorn squash, spaghetti squash, right? All of that is so delicious. And you're going to find these in abundance right now. These are seasonal. So what does that mean? When you walk into a grocery store and you got the big bins of items, whatever's seasonal is what's going to cost the least because it's plentiful, supply and demand, you feel me? But it is also what's going to be the most nutrient dense at that point. So it's cheaper and better for you? Yeah, that's checking all my boxes. Let's go. So we're using those today. I'm going to show you how to rock with these. They're really, really good. If you ever wonder what seasonal, you can look it up. And also, as well, there's another thing you should look up to keep in mind when you're shopping, and that is our Clean 15, which is a list of 15 items that are very rarely pesticided that we can work with whenever we get a feeling for something. And our Dirty Dozen, which are things that you don't want to touch, even though they may look so good, right? Non-organic strawberries, don't touch those. There are a whole bunch of other fruits and vegetables that you can touch. So you got to look on your list to find out what's good for you to work with your hands with, and other stuff not so much. Okay, let's look at East butternut squash. So I bought this for speed, and it was on sale. So win-win. Check the boxes again, right? But this is what is in here. So these are on sale. This was only 99 cents a pound. Super reasonable. This one squash is definitely double what's in this current package for $1 cheaper when you total it up. How you would prepare this is you would take a vegetable peeler and you would peel the whole outside, okay? Then you would take a knife and you cut it down the middle. Well, first, cut this in half, then cut them down the middle. You're gonna have seeds. In this big part, there are seeds. Take a heavy spoon and just scoop out the seeds because we're not gonna eat those. You can, however, dry them and use them for later if you want to make like a little seed thing. That's up to you, how involved you want to be. But I wanted to show you what a real butternut squash looks like. The coolest thing about buying whole squashes is they're going to last for a very long time. I'm talking months. So something to put in your pan, especially because hurricanes don't seem to be stopping. I don't know what's up with that. But we got to stock up on things that we will have forever. And with that being said, let us move to our veggies. Using the same skillet. Now you just saw this lovely skillet here. You just saw me use this for our sauce. So you know that there's a little bit of there's gonna be some sweet down here. There's gonna be a little bit of residual honey and stuff and pineapple. That's extra flavor. So we're not gonna get rid of that. What we are gonna do is spray it a little so things don't stick. And we're going to start with our cauliflower. And I'm just going to make nice. And this is just me. You don't have to do this. I just think it's pretty, right? Just make nice thin slices, okay? And I'm going to put them into the pan. See that? I just think that looks pretty. Just put them into the pan. Just drop them in. We're gonna let this do what it does, okay? Now that my cauliflower is in, I'm gonna turn my attention to my broccoli, okay? Raw broccoli, if you've never cooked it, it is something that people they don't always do because America has taught us to eat our broccoli very, very soft. And as you know, when you cook vegetables too soft, you tend to cook out most of the nutrients. And that's one of the reasons why we gotta eat vegetables, right? We need the nutrients. So what I'm gonna do that's a little bit different is we're not gonna cook this too soft. We are gonna cut off the stem for this one because it takes a little bit longer for these to get soft. However, the stems are edible, and I definitely think you use them. And broccoli, you see this little leaf right here? Those are called broccoli leaves. When you get broccoli from the farm, there's a whole bunch of these leaves, and they tend to just discard them, but they're delicious. If you love like collard greens, mustard greens, stuff like that, you would love broccoli leaves, and they're not as bitter as some of the other leaves that we can get too much. I digress. I'll come back. I tend to get a little, off track sometimes. Let's get in with the broccoli. We've got our crowns here. Let's go ahead and let's just slice this right. Okay, we're just gonna slice it up. We're gonna make it a little smaller, so it's a little more bite size. And I'm just really just kind of just going with the flow. I'm not really thinking about where I slice them, how I slice them, any of that stuff. I'm just kind of having fun with it. We're just feeling it out. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add this broccoli in right here. Put it off to the side. It's not getting a lot of heat, right? But that's okay because we've got time. I'm not wasting anything, so all that can go, okay, right in. Now, I will show you something in a second because if you notice, I haven't stirred, I haven't even seasoned yet. But there's a reason. I mean, I can season now, but I want to show you something first. While I'm waiting for that to finish happening properly, let me tell you about this cauliflower here again, because I did call it a magical vegetable. Do you know that I can make cauliflower about 4 or 5 ways and serve it all at the same time, and you wouldn't even, it's like, yo, you wouldn't even know the difference. And matter of fact, you love it. Cauliflower to me is like the chicken of the vegetable family, right? You know how chicken can be made 10 different ways? Same with cauliflower. I got rice cauliflower. I have steamed cauliflower. I've got sauteed cauliflower. I've got baked cauliflower. I have buffalo cauliflower bites, okay? I have raw cauliflower that we dip. I mean, there are literally tons of applications. I saw a chef online the other day. Shout out to Chef RLI, man. Richard Ingram, bro. That's the homie. He did cauliflower pizza. So he cut the cauliflower like a thick chunk, right, a square, and he sealed it on both sides to lock in some of that flavor and give it a little bit of a crust, right? A crust on cauliflower. Then he topped it with some marinara, some mozzarella, and some pepperoni. Pushed it in the oven. Man, I was interested. I was interested. I'm probably going to make it for the fam one day. But I was very, very interested. Okay? So just know that's what cauliflower does. And I think I've had enough time so I can show you what I was trying to do, which is this. A little bit of char. Okay? I wanted char. This char on this cauliflower is why I didn't stir it. That's a level of flavor that you just can't get a lot of other ways. So that's why I didn't stir it. However, now it is time to start mixing and matching a little bit over here because we got to get this broccoli cooking. So we're going to add some seasoning. I'm using just roasted garlic, just a sprinkle, right? Remember, very low in sodium. And I'm going to use some of my adobo, right? I make my own seasonings. The wife and I and some of our good friends have a new company launching early December called the Seasoning Box. And it's where you can get custom blends of amazing seasonings to make your life easier. At this point, I'm going to add just a little bit of oil as well because we need something to help get that heat circulated. Now, I use a squeeze bottle of my oil because it's about using less. That's one of those things about being mindful about moderation is how little or how much you use. All right, so let's take this here and we're gonna stir it. But I want, yo, man, this is looking, yo, these are looking great. Okay, let's get them in there. Let's stir a little bit. Okay, if you are asking why I have not cracked the butternut squash, it is because the cook time on butternut squash is very different than the cook time on broccoli and cauliflower. This is gonna cook pretty fast. These take a second. Now, so I'm not standing here all day. We're gonna cheat a little bit. Don't tell nobody I told you. All right. Go ahead. Add a little liquid. Turn your heat up. Okay. And let some of this steam do some of the work. Now this is gonna cook for about 5 more minutes. All of this liquid is going to cook out. All right. Every single drop of that liquid is gonna cook out. As it does, then I will add in the butternut squash and we will be finished with our veggies. Told you, we're done with this thing. All right. It is easier for me to show you than it is to tell you, which is why I do it live. And if you notice, I wasn't in chef mode. Now, chef mode, a lot quicker. I'm chopping, I'm dicing, I'm slicing, I'm moving, I'm grooving. At least I feel that way in my mind. And we're working it out and we're getting done. But I wanted to show you that you can do it without being in chef mode. So we just taking our time, we're chilling, we are good to go. I'm going to let this play out and get ready to add in our butternut squash. And in the meantime, and in between time, let's move over to our mashed potatoes. Okay? So, cauliflower mash. All right? What we've got to do, and I'm sorry my back is towards you. We're going to switch that. We're going to fix that right now. Okay? No back towards the camera. I'm going to just make sure that this is soft enough. Now, these are still hot, but yes, they're definitely soft enough because I'm able to put my finger through it. Don't use your finger. You guys use a knife. Okay? Pour off the liquid. Okay? We don't need that. Go back over to your potatoes. Okay? And the same thing. Are these soft enough? For me, finger. You guys, knife. Like butter. It slides right through like butter. Pour off a lot of this liquid. Leave some of it. The liquid in the bottom is starchy water that is great for sauces, great for making things work. So leave some of it. Now what we're going to do is the most fun part, that is combining. Okay. Now this skillet is really hot and I don't want to burn my tablecloth. So I've got to mash these to combine them. I'm going to show you a trick that I use often to mash. And it's just, I just take a knife and I just slice right before I mash, right? Just slice right through. Now, this just helps with the process. So here, now I'm coming over to my masher and I'm building up my forearm strength right now. Just going to mash. And my forearms are not up to the task. Okay, Can you adjust the camera, follow me here? I'm gonna sit this on top of my case where I can't burn the case. Actually, just a little bit, right? Here. Just going to mash this down like so. Once this is mashed, we're gonna season it, okay? And then we are going to be ready to taste it. Now, where's the question y'all are all asking? In your heads, you're all thinking about this. I know what question that is. You're like, yo, chef, though, where's the butter? Where's the cream? Where's the milk? Where's the heavy cream? Where's the butter? Where's the Parmesan? Where's anything? Mashed potatoes we're talking about here. It's almost sacrilegious to not have some of that stuff in there. Well, my lovely family, in these, you don't need any of that. Look at how, watch this, look at this. Look at how smooth that is, right? Look at that. It's not grainy, it's not too crazy. This is perfect. This is perfect. No butter, no cream, right? We can do this. I want y'all to try this at home. Now, if you absolutely must use the butter, try it first like this and then add some, but I don't think you'll miss it. And I think that alone will help you with your motivation with enjoying this meal a lot better. Now, I've got a plate. Can I ask you, babe, while I finish these vegetables here, to go grab the ham out of the oven and to bring me a presentation plate, please? Okay. So let's finish our veggies. Let's go back. Let's double check them. It's been about 5 minutes, and I still have some of the liquid in here. So you have a choice right now. Okay? We can leave it in, or we can pour it off. If you look at your broccoli, you see they're bright green. That normally happens when you blanch broccoli, which is when you put broccoli in the boiling water. That means that it's cooking, but it's not fully cooked. You haven't cooked out all the nutrients. It is, however, edible. For me, I'm gonna leave this liquid in here. I'm gonna open up this butternut squash. We're gonna add it in. At that point, we're going to add a little more seasoning, and then we'll be ready to plate and eat. If I can open this package, that's what knives are for. All right. Package open, problem solved, crisis averted. Squash in, looking real beautiful here. All right, that's the other part. Look at all of these colors, okay? We got the white, we have the orange, we have the green. That makes me hungry. You know, food is visual. We see it, well, we smell it, then we see it, and then we eat it. So let's get this smell going. Just a couple of pinches of seasoning here. Just a couple of good ones in there, and we are good to go. All right. And we're smelling, I'm smelling the whole neighborhood now. My studio, I'll be having neighbors coming over talking about, hey, neighbor. Yep, no, this is for the family. Because this is dinner for us. So, I feel like I was going back to saying, that color is phenomenal. We did not talk about this earlier, but when I say be mindful of moderation, what I'm talking about is little lifestyle change, little habits that you can do to make your overall healthier meals healthy, right? Like to make them better. Healthy is a moving target, but to make things better. Eating seasonal vegetables. That's one. Eating color. You don't want to have a plate that's all brown, that's all monotone. We want to have some vibrancy, some color in it, right? So eating with colors. In nature, color represents something different. And like a different vitamin, a different nutrient. So you want to make sure you have multiple colors on whatever plate you're eating with. Also, coming back to colors in this butternut squash is going to add a little hint of sweetness to this dish that I think you will love. Okay, so remember what I just said, right? Eating seasonal, eating with colors, that's what we're getting with our veggies. It's adding some vibrancy to everything that we're doing. It's going to be dope. And our ham just came out, so I've got to show you what we're working with over here. Okay? Look at that. That looks phenomenal. That's going to be crazy. Okay? So we have our veggies, which we're going to cook to the limit. They just need a few more minutes, right? We have our cauliflower mashed potato. Let's start plating. And then we will be ready. All right, I like building up. This is a little bit much for a plate for one person, because we always talk about eating in moderation, but I'm building up because I want to show, I just want to work on my presentation. I want to do something a little bit different with the presentation, so bear with me here, all right? Let's go ahead. Let's get, some of these veggies, they're going in last. I'm just stirring them around so that they can finish up here. Let's go ahead and get some ham up here. I'm working on presentation. I'm being a little chefy right now because we got a little bit of time. Okay, I'm being just a little chefy. Now, I don't know how this is going to work. This is just me having a little bit of fun with things, y'all. And that's what I'm allowed to do as a chef. We just play with it a little bit. Let's go ahead and get some of these veggies on this plate. It's just not the same without them. I have a spoon. All right. A couple right there. All right. Let's flank it. Let's flank it. Some cauliflower. Okay. Let's do one more beautiful thing here. And I think we're ready for our finished product. Turn that off. That doesn't need to be on. Just a little drizzle. A little sauce. Okay. Now, this is what I call a holiday meal. All right. This is what I'm calling a holiday meal. I'm loving that. Now remember, holiday meal is opposed to Thanksgiving because you can cook something like this on any holiday that you want, and it's going to be amazing. Look at that. Cauliflower mashed potatoes, our apple honey ham, and our seasonal vegetables. Looks awesome. We're ready to go. I'm hungry now. I hope you are too. And I'll see y'all soon.